Counting down? Is that what? Oh, here we go. Nobody's attended yet. Is
Can
anyone?
I have can you make me a co-host or a pan? Oh wait, no, we're good. I just can't
All
see.
good. Oh, now we have people. Hooray. Hi, everybody. Glad you guys are joining. I hope you didn't see us being confused for the first 30 seconds of this video, because we all know that happens. We all know how stressful Zoom is. We're glad you guys are here. Glad you're showing up. We'll give it a couple more minutes and wait for everybody else to join us. But yeah, we're excited that you guys are here. I love seeing how the number just keeps going up, and some of you are just jumping in randomly as I talk, but that's going to be the whole event. So I hope you guys are ready for it. I think all of us on here have done at least one of these events before. Is that right? Yeah.
They're the best.
They're the best. Yeah, these are our most popular events, thanks to all of you guys attending. So we're excited about it, ready to get into it. If you guys have any questions that you have right off the bat, go ahead and send them in the Q&A. We're going to have a chance to do that later today, but go ahead and send those right away. But yeah, we're just kind of hanging out for now. I'm curious, for all my fellow panelists, is this the same spot that you guys Zoom into class or work every single time? Like, do you have a designated spot that you Zoom into?
That is such a fun question. Go ahead, Alea. You go.
This is the view that everyone gets, and I change it up occasionally. I was in nonverbal comm last semester, and that professor, Dr. Barry, she's amazing, and she'll interpret the background of whatever you're showing on Zoom. So for a while I had a purse there, and so she was like, you have a purse and this means this about you. So then the next class I move the purse and now I have a different bag. So sometimes I'll switch it up when I'm feeling a little spicy, but for the most part, this is the view.
I love that. That's hilarious.
She was like, you must go shopping a lot. And I was like, no, that's actually my church bag. So I
Close though. Sorry, Dr. Barry. That's so funny. You guys are sending in questions already. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, I feel like I usually Zoom into the spot of like where I'm at now, but there's a couple times, like last semester, I had a couple like morning classes. And so I'm like sitting on my bed right now. I have this like fancy little like table desk that I use, but when I needed to stay awake and like I promise I'm not going to fall asleep during this event, but when I really needed to stay awake, I would actually move to the floor and I would sit on the floor and Zoom into class because I know I would pay attention there. Not that I don't pay attention. I'm really putting myself in a bad light here right now, but it was like morning, like sometimes I'd sit on the ground and I'd just Zoom in. I'd be like in front of my closet. I don't think anybody noticed because I just like would sit in front of a white wall, but yeah, definitely done that a couple times just to kind of switch it up.
Totally. Totally.
That's so funny. I don't think, at least for this semester, since we started so soon, I haven't been in the same spot. I have moved around the house. Like I was at the kitchen dining table, and then I was in like a little study room, and now I'm in a room, and before I was in a different room. I don't think I've been in the same spot, which is completely different than it was last semester. Last semester was like my go-to spot, and I never moved.
Is anyone else guilty from Zooming in from a drive-through? Like, have you ever been in a class?
Oh,
you're
wow.
Really hungry, so you like take your device with you.
Sneaky.
No.
Oh my God. I know. I've never thought of that before, but
I've done it a couple times. I'm not proud of it, but
own it.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta eat. Come on now.
It was Starbucks too sometimes, so I don't know if it was necessary.
Oh yeah, fuel in any sense of the word.
I had to switch my which direction my computer faced, because when it was on the left side, it was facing my kitchen. And I was in class one time and someone was like, wow, you really have to do dishes, Mateo.
No.
Zoom class, so I just switched to the computer. I don't know what to tell her. I was like, all right, cool. But I felt so like just called out.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm sorry.
The way my room is set up with my roommate is that like her desk like faces my like side of the room. So when she zooms into class, like I like you can see my bed and my dresser and all that kind of stuff. But she has a 7:40 a.m. class this semester. So now I have to wake up. So I'm not like sleeping in the background of her class. I like have to make my bed so it looks like put together. But I just feel so bad all the time because I'm like, I just want to go lay on my bed, but like people are going to be learning about neurobiology and I'm going to be taking a nap.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Wow. You
like,
are a champion.
make it work. But yeah, mornings be tough. But anyways, enough about that. We are going to go ahead and get things started today, you guys. We are so glad that you're here. So glad that you're taking the time in your late afternoon on a Thursday to join us and hear more about APU. So my name is Natalie Day. I am a senior intern here at APU, and these are some of my other fellow interns and our friend Sarah, who's an admissions counselor. But our job today is to give you more insight as to what the APU experience is like. So we Mateo, Alea, and Kaylee and I are all students at APU, and then Sarah is going to be our admissions counselor to help us with a lot more logistical questions, but she was also a student at APU. So really today, if you have questions about APU's experience, what it's like to live in the city of Azusa, what it's like to be in the dorms, what food is like, majors, any of those experiences, that's what we're here to answer and talk to you guys about. So go ahead and send those in the chat whenever you, or in the Q&A whenever you come up with them, and we are going to do our best to really get to as many of those as possible. So how this is going to set up is, again, I'm going to share a couple videos with you guys. So in just a moment, I'm going to share my screen and share that with you. And then we're going to go around and introduce ourselves so you can hear a little bit about what we're involved in, what our experience is like, to kind of tailor your questions so that, you know, like Mateo's a different major than Alea and I are, and that Kaylee is. And so like he's going to be able to answer different questions than we will, and like all of that. So we want to make sure that you guys have that well-rounded viewpoint. Then we'll show another video. So you're going to see 2 videos, and then we'll go for the Q&A for the last half an hour or 40 minutes of this. And again, get to as many as we can. So glad you guys are here. I'm now going to share my screen. So it's going to be that awkward me trying to figure it out, but we're going to do it at the same time. I get so stressed every time, you guys, every single time. But here we go.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm a sociology major, and I'm a senior. Initially, I actually came into APU with a different major, and I was really excited about that major, and I took a bunch of classes, and the people were amazing, and the professors were awesome, but when I started to get deeper and deeper into it, I decided that I wasn't super sure about it anymore. So then I actually applied to study abroad in South Africa and got accepted. Entering it, I wanted to be as open-minded as I could and understand that people are incredibly different, and enter that with just grace and so much love. Sitting and listening to someone and learning their story and appreciating them is something that is so essential to just sharing the gospel and being a disciple of Jesus. I completely changed my mind and wanted to become part of the sociology major. Jesus was like, Hannah, you're gonna do this instead, and I want you to do this, and you're gonna thrive in this. And then I entered the major and met so many so passionate professors that just wanted to sit down and wanted you to excel and wanted you to succeed. And I felt like I was a team with them. I can just have so many different conversations where people can sit down with one another and be willing to listen and be willing to challenge one another and say, okay, tell me why you believe that, or tell me why you think this should change. Sociology majors are some of the most passionate people I've ever met, and I think that I'm really lucky and so honored to be a part of that.
All right. So hopefully that was a student at APU. She just graduated recently, but just again, a little insight as to what the APU experience is like. So now we're going to introduce ourselves, just kind of go around again so you guys get a feel for who we are and what we're about. And then we'll show another video. And then again, any questions you have, send those in the Q&A. So Kaylee, do you want to go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Natalie. So my name is Kaylee. I'm a current senior here at APU. I'm majoring in allied health, minoring in psychology. And so basically the way I describe allied health, it's a mix between nursing and biology. So for people who want to go into occupational therapy or physical therapy, that's the route and the major that you would take. And so for myself, I'm actually going into physical therapy school for my graduate program. I actually just got accepted to a couple of schools just recently. So super exciting. Yeah. Yeah. So at APU, I'm involved with a decent amount of clubs. Probably the major ones would be the PIO Club, which is the Pacific Islander organization. I know Alea and Mateo, like we're a part of that too, so we all can kind of touch on it a little bit. But I'm also a part of intramurals, and so I actually played co-ed indoor volleyball as well as beach volleyball. And so, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
So good. Alea, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Alea. I'm a junior communication management major, and I also have a minor in leadership. Some things I've been involved in, I have been able to be a part of a couple clubs. Some of my favorites, I think Kaylee already gave a shout out to one of our ethnic organizations, which is the Pacific Islander Organization, or PIO, but I'll let Mateo give the spiel on that because I know he's super passionate about it. I've also been able to be a part of our discipleship groups on campus, also known as D groups, and you'll get to hear a little bit more about that if that's something you're interested in. I think it's definitely one of the best things you could do your freshman year, as well as I currently hold a few campus jobs where I've really been able to get involved, of course, here with admissions, which allows me to meet all of you and give tours. But along with that, I'm interning with our Office of Corporate Worship, which is the fancy name for the office that puts on chapel. And so I've been able to be involved in the whole chapel process this year and help create chapel, which is just such a large part of your experience as an APU student. So I'm super passionate about chapel and would love to share more about that if you are curious about what that looks like. So that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, I see we already have a couple questions in the Q&A about chapel. So Alea, get ready to answer those right off the bat. We will definitely get to that. Mateo, why don't you share a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Mateo. I'm a junior psychology major here at APU. I've been involved in a couple things on campus, mostly ethnic organizations like PIO or Latinos Unidos or the new multiracial club, which is great. And I've also had a couple jobs on campus as well. I've worked in the food at Starbucks. I was the barista for a while. And, now I have this new job where I get to talk to you guys. So, student employment is also something that I'm passionate about and things like that. And yeah, that's basically me.
Great. Sarah, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what you're doing now too?
Yes, awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Hernandez, and I am an admissions counselor at APU. So I graduated from APU in 2018, and I studied kinesiology, which I loved. The faculty within that program are incredible. So that's what I studied at APU. One of my favorite things that I got to do as a student was study abroad. And I know a lot of us here were able to study abroad as well. So if you have any questions about studying away or what that kind of program looks like, we'd love to talk about that too. But that was one of my favorite things that I got to be involved in as a student. And I love APU so much and believe in it so much that I came back to work as a staff. So it's so fun to be in these events with current students and just to learn a little bit more about you all as incoming students. We are really excited to have you.
Great. And then I'll just finish us up. Like I said, my name is Natalie Day. I'm a senior here at APU. I have a major in communication studies and then a minor in youth ministry. So Alea and I have like class every other day together as comm students. So you'll probably hear us answer the same things with the same perspective, which is just a lot of fun. I also studied abroad. I studied abroad 2 years ago now. I went to South Africa 2 years ago. I could talk about that forever, but this isn't the Natalie Day show, so I won't talk about it. But any questions, again, happy to answer those. I'm not involved in any clubs, but I've been able to attend a couple clubs. So I love being able to just like step into those spaces and really learn. A lot of times I just step in and listen. So that's been a lot of fun. I've been involved in Mexico outreach. So when it comes to service credits, that's a great opportunity. And then I also was a Young Life leader for 3 years, if you're familiar with that organization, which I got connected to through APU. So yeah, that's where we're at. Those are just kind of the bare minimum of who we are and what we do. And we're here to answer your questions. I love all of them coming in here in the chat. So I'm going to share my screen awkwardly one more time, and then we get to the fun part of this. Here we go. See, don't even have it ready yet. Okay.
Hi, my name is Kylan Brooks. I'm a junior here at Azusa Pacific, and I'm an entrepreneurship major. I was doing my accounting classes, and I was really just struggling the entire semester trying to get all the work done. And I was like, I really don't want to be an accountant. And it just like clicked for me right there. I was like, why don't you start your own business? My accounting professor was the one who encouraged me to pursue entrepreneurship. He actually told me a couple of his life experiences as an entrepreneur, and he kind of encouraged me more so to do it and told me the path I can take with it. I believe the leadership here from all the professors kind of guide the students to follow the correct path that they want to do and not something that someone else told them to do.
All right, so now we are going to jump into some of these questions. So to start things off, there are a couple questions here about chapel. So Alea, I'm going to hand that over to you. Why don't you just give us the general overview of what chapel looks like for students, requirements, how can you get involved in chapel? Yeah, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I love all these questions I'm seeing. So, a little bit about chapel. A part of course, APU is a Christian university. So, along with that means that we have the opportunity and the requirement to attend chapel weekly. So, you are required as a student to attend chapel 3 times a week. Right now, we are on an online format, of course, because of COVID and everything. But typically, when we're on campus, what it looks like is you have about 5 to 6 different chapel opportunities to attend every week. Again, you have to go to 3 of those. And those opportunities you have a variety of options to choose from. So the most popular ones are going to be our Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning chapels. Those are amazing because they are made at the perfect time of day where the university pauses all classes and allows you all to go to chapel. So I remember thinking, how the heck am I going to add 3 chapel services a week to my schedule? And the answer to that is you don't have to. APU does it for you. So you go to chapel, and these are awesome. A lot of students like to say these are like our TED Talk kind of style chapels. So we'll have campus pastors, some of your favorite professors, people outside of the APU community. We used to have Francis Chan come a lot before he moved his ministry to China. And they deliver a message on tons of different subjects. And so that is just one of the ways that our community gathers. And we start off our Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings like that. But let's say you're not a morning person, and I'm guilty of not being a morning person, then we have night chapels. So we have Monday night senior chapel, which I'm looking forward to attending next year. We have Wednesday night, which I'm going to make a generalization that that's usually everyone's favorite chapel. That's Kaleo Chapel. That is such a good time. It's Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. and people will start lining up at like 8:15 p.m. on Cougar Walk for it because it's just such a lively atmosphere. And then Thursday nights, we rotate with evening prayer chapel, liturgical chapel, more of your traditional and reflective style chapels. So you have all those options to choose from. Again, they're such a great time. You are allowed 10 absences to use throughout the semester. So that is also nice if you're not feeling well or you have too much homework. You can keep that in mind that you have absences. But again, that's just such a great opportunity to hear from different speakers. You can also be a part of chapel. Again, I intern with the chapel office, so I really do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I communicate with our outside speakers and make sure that they get to chapel and they know everything they need for their message. But let's say you are gifted in worship and you play an instrument or you sing, you can be a part of our chapel bands, which is a paid job on campus, which is amazing. And you can be a part of fostering the worship atmosphere in each chapel. So my fiance drummed for a little bit for chapel and he got paid for that. So again, you have so many ways to get involved. You don't have to just be a spectator in chapel, but you can be a part of it. So if you have a heart for worship and ministry, then you can definitely find a home with the Office of Corporate Worship. So that's a little bit about chapel. I don't know if that was too much. I'm super passionate about it. I love chapel.
No, that's great. Chapel's going to be a big part of your guys' APU experience. So like Alea said, they really do a good job of like engaging with students. And a couple of you are asking questions too about what does it look like for people who are not Christians. So as APU, as a university, we are a faith-based school and God first is the heart of APU, but we do not require you to sign a statement of faith or be a Christian to attend here. So while we do implement Christian practices and we do implement things such as chapel, you will be required to take a couple of biblical courses. You don't have to be a Christian to be here. We just ask that you come as you are with the willingness to learn. And that applies for people who are believers and those who are not believers. And we just want to make this the best experience for you. So regardless of your faith standing, we do require students to attend chapel and take those classes. But again, it is not a requirement of who you are to attend here. So I hope that kind of answers some of your questions. let's talk a little bit about the freshman dorm experience. So Mateo, do you want to go ahead and start that one for us, talking about your experience as a freshman?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Man, the first night of dorming felt like sleepaway camp. I don't know if anybody here has ever been to church camp or some kind of away camp, but when it's the first night, you guys are sitting, crisscross applesauce on your bed, and you guys are talking about how cool this all is, and then like a week passes, and you're like, "Ooh, I'm here for 6 months." But it is totally just a cool experience to know that there's other people like living close with you, like just next door are two other kids or three other people who are going through the same thing. So like for me, in the psychology program, we have what's called a living learning community, which I took part in my freshman year, which means I was living with other psychology majors who were taking the same core classes as me, which was really cool. It made me feel more like at home, I guess, because I was seeing everybody. I was saying, "Hey, I'm gonna see you later, at the dorm tonight," and it was really cool. The community that the resident staff takes to just make you feel part of something is just, completely amazing. Resident life does a lot of stuff to just, there's events and there's things like that. There's always something happening to make you feel like you're involved in something. And they always make it, they leave their doors open just in case you want to pop in, you talk about something, which is important too, to, making sure that you're okay and staying well throughout the semester. So, they do a great job of that. And honestly, dorming in the actual dorm room was just a lot of fun. It's basically just living in your bedroom and, making pause and go runs at, midnight or something like that because you wanted ice cream or mochi balls. And it's just a great experience of those little things of really being your own person, having that freedom to do that. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, dorms are great. We have a really great setup here. There are 3 different dorms that we have open for students. Right now, when classes are online, they're not currently being used, but fingers crossed when we're back in the fall, they will be. So we have 3 different dorms, a couple different styles of those. Typically it'll be you and one other roommate. So it'll be you and one other person. You have the option to triple. If you do not request a triple, then you won't get tripled. And then for rooming by yourself, I do think you are able to request that, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. So that's something you would want to talk to an admissions counselor about when it comes to living with people and again requesting by yourselves. But there's another question in the chat that I want to ask, and I'm going to go to Kaylee for this one. But somebody was asking about public transportation in downtown LA, and I know that Kaylee, you kind of go everywhere in California since being down here. So if you could share, and I've used public transportation to downtown LA multiple times as well. But if you want to share not only if you've experienced that, but kind of what you do during your free time as a student here on campus. And then we'll kind of tie that into this question. But why don't you go ahead with that?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. So actually not too far from West Campus. So we have 2 campuses, there's an East and a West. It's kind of right in between. There's actually a metro system that takes you from Azusa all the way down, like literally to the coast of California, which is super nice. And so if you don't have a car on campus or none of your friends do, you can literally hop on the metro. It's like a couple dollars, if that, and it will take you all the way down there. And there's so much to do in like the downtown LA area, or even just 30 minutes. If you were to go a little bit south, you're right there at Disneyland. And I know so many people who have bought a Disneyland like annual pass, and they'll go there on a weekday to do homework in downtown Disney or like right in front of the castle. Like that is a big thing at APU to go to Disneyland. So if you ever have the chance, if you ever come to APU, you have to go to Disneyland at least once. I'm just saying, but I'm a little biased. It's okay. But also with that, there's the beaches that are typically about an hour away. You have Universal Studios that's also an hour away. And so for me, especially during Halloween, so literally from like September all the way through October, I would go to Halloween Horror Nights, and it's basically just like a giant place where they have a whole bunch of scare mazes. And my friends and I would go there every weekend to kind of just pee our pants in fright, but we enjoyed it. So not only that, just around the downtown LA area, there's a whole bunch to do in Azusa itself. We have what's called GMR, and so that's Glendora Mountain Road. Everyone loves to go up there. It's a beautiful sight. You can literally see the entire city of Azusa from that mountain. You can go hiking there. It's just, yeah, there's so much to do. I could literally go on, but I'm rambling now.
Yeah, there's the great thing about living in the LA area is that there are tons of options for you. So if you want to try public transportation, one of my favorite days freshman year was taking the metro all the way to downtown LA with a group of friends. We spent 8 hours exploring LA, came back. It was exhausting, but it was nice to not worry about parking, to kind of just figure it out and just experience it. I also took the metro. You can take it to the beach. Again, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, it's going to be a long journey, but we're going to make it. But it's definitely worth it. Definitely a lot of fun. Within the city of itself, there's not a whole lot for students to do. We have a couple key coffee shops that people like to go to and hang out at. We have Target. If you go to Target, you will honestly see somebody you know there. But Azusa itself is more of like APU focused, where you'll be hanging out on campus. But again, there are tons of different things to be involved with in Southern California and Orange County, LA County, Riverside County. So you will not be short of things to do. I'm looking at some of these questions. I'm going to answer one on study abroad real quick. So anybody's able to study abroad. So that's the great thing about these programs is that they're primarily general education requirements. So for example, when I went to South Africa, I took a history class, I took a biology class, I took one of my biblical classes I needed to, and I don't think there was anybody in my cohort that had the same major as me. So it was nice to get those GEs out of the way, and I kind of saved them up to use them my sophomore year as I studied abroad. Our study abroad programs are also specific to nursing students. So if you're on the nursing track, then you can go to South Africa. The other options we had available were China and Norway. Those are all again on hold temporarily, but I know that APU wants to get back into those because they're so phenomenal for our students. But if you're not a nursing program or not in our nursing program, then you can go to South Africa, Ecuador, and then Lake Tahoe, I believe, is also another study away option that we have. But the great thing is that even though those are the APU specific ones, we also partner with other universities for you to still study abroad. So it's a little bit more expensive and maybe your coursework and the timing will be different. But for example, while I studied abroad through APU my sophomore year, two of my really good friends who were math majors went to Budapest their sophomore year. So their semester time was a little bit different, where they started first week of February, ended in middle of May, where I started like in January, ended beginning of end of April. So the timing's a little bit different. It's a little bit more expensive, but if you are a major that doesn't allow you to study abroad for some reason, or maybe you don't need those classes that are offered, but you still want to do it, our Study Away office wants to make that happen for you. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it because it's the best thing ever. But of course, do whatever's going to make you feel most comfortable, because obviously we've all loved our APU on campus experience as well. So let's see here. I'm going to ask this question that's popped up a couple times. I usually use it for the closing one, but what do you guys like most about APU? And I think that we can all answer this, and I feel like we'll all have like a slightly similar answer. But Kaylee, why don't you start us off with what do you like most about APU?
Community. I could say that over and over again. The community at APU is probably one of the best things, and the reason why I just am so sad, one, that I'm not there. Like, I miss all of my friends. I miss having class in person and interacting with professors. But there was so much to do at APU, literally on campus. APU put on so many different events, whether it was like dances or like fairs on Cougar Walk, or just simple things like that. I remember there was one time my freshman year, they were promoting a game. I believe it was a football game, and they had a golf cart, and there was about 5 people on the golf cart, and they like one person had a megaphone, and they were just telling everyone to come to the football game and passing out candy. And I was just like, yes, like tell me more. And yeah, I have so many different memories. And we also have Community on our campus, where basically it's an office kind of led by students that are there to create different events for our students on campus, whether you want to go to a dance or if it's a certain fundraiser. Like for our action teams, they like to promote that as well. They're just there to make campus more lively if it isn't already. And so that's one thing that I love about APU.
For sure. Alea, do you want to go next?
Yeah, everything Kaylee just said, I think along with that, for me, it's definitely 100% the professors. and the relationships you get to form with them. So your professors, because APU's class size is so small, like you typically have, I think the class average right now is 22 students per class, but typically it's around that size. And so because of that, your professors know you by your first name. They actually care about you outside of your just the grade book. They're there to be a resource for you, not only within the classroom, but also outside of the classroom. So like every first week of school, I've been doing it this week as well. I'll always stay a little after class, even on Zoom I'm doing it, and I'll just chat with my professors for a little bit, and they welcome me and they let me just share with them what are my concerns for the class. I'll look at the syllabus and I'm like, okay, I don't know about this assignment, and we'll get to chat about it. But then they'll also ask me about like who I am as a person, what are my desires, how can they assist me not only within the classroom but outside the classroom. So just to give you an idea of what that relationship looks like with my professors, the week of finals right before Christmas break, my family caught COVID and I caught COVID. And I remember immediately, like the first thing I did other than pray with myself was I emailed all my professors and I let them know what happened and I asked them for prayer, and they all responded really quickly and came alongside with me in prayer. And even so, like 2 weeks later, they emailed me again. We're like, can I get an update? How are you doing? And I just remember that meaning so much to me. And I think that's just such a display of the relationships that you get to form with your professors. And where else can you get that? Like, what other university does that? And so I know for me, having professors who are invested in you has been the best thing for also my academic success. I think there's an added accountability knowing that your professors are there rooting for you, and that if you're not in class, they'll like in a sweet way, they'll email you and be like, hey, are you okay? You weren't in class today. And so that, that makes me get it together and makes me think, okay, I can't skip class today. Like Dr. Montague's looking for me. And so that really it's helped me out with my grades. It's helped me out remain motivated even in a remote setting right now where we're not physically there in person. So just 100% the professors at APU.
Mateo, what's your favorite thing?
I really think my favorite part, kind of like let's say that Alea was saying, was that just the relationships you get to build. Azusa is a smaller school. There's 22 kids per class, so you get to interact with people a lot more, and that's not only just your professors; it's even possibly administrators too. Last year I was on the leadership team for PIO, and I spent some time around the office of the SCRD, and which is our diversity office. And I got to have these conversations with Dr. Keith Hall, who is an administrator on campus, and he's pretty much a rock star on campus. Everybody loves him. And I modeled one time for a cultural event around Halloween, which is called Culture Not a Costume, and I got to wear some traditional dress and things like that. And we also had a cool little booth over to the side where it was all of the ethnic organizations were lined up and had samples and things like that. Me and Dr. Keith Hall ended up having this conversation after doing the electric slide, because apparently we started doing that because there's music playing in the background. We all do an electric slide, so I guess. But we had a conversation about social justice and racial justice, and and had deep conversations about that, and it was cool because a few months later in July, when things started happening within our country, the first person I reached out to was Dr. Keith Hall. I sent him an email. I didn't think he'd ever reply, but I thanked him because the conversations we had inspired me to get active and get out there and start doing things and bringing a word out and and going to cities and things like that. And I wouldn't have been able to have been inspired by that or free to do that if Dr. Keith hadn't talked to me. And he replied, and it was such a cool thing because this is an administrator of our college. Like I probably should only meet him once in 4 years and I'm there. But here we are having this connection, and it was really cool that it wouldn't have been possible if our school wasn't in the perfect kind of size that it is. So I really liked it.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. Professors, community, just being with people, that is what the heart of APU. That's what keeps us going. And that's what we love about it, is that people are intentional, not only the students, but your professors as well. I like to say all the time that professors don't just see you as a student, but they see you as an individual that wants to be there, that is ready to be there, and they want to invest in you. I mean, I call my professors by their first name. I text them. I would love running into them on campus. Like they are completely there for you, not only to help teach and educate, but again, just to really spend time with you, which is amazing. And you're not going to get that at larger universities. Kaylee, there's a couple different questions about allied health majors, but then science majors in general. So do you want to share a little bit about not only allied health, but like what do labs look like now compared to what they looked like on campus, and kind of where you're at with all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw one of the questions about PT. Why did I choose allied health over kinesiology? when I was looking into colleges, I was really looking into the different majors. And so when I saw APU, I was like, perfect. They have a graduate program here for DPT, like perfect. And then I compared kinesiology with allied health. And personally, for me, I just liked how the courses were set up with allied health. Granted, as an allied health major, you will take kinesiology classes. That is a requirement. You get to pick certain ones you can take to fulfill those requirements in order to graduate. When it comes to actually applying to PT school, it doesn't matter if you're allied health, biology, or kinesiology. They don't really look at your major or what degree you got. They're really looking for the prerequisites. And so for me, when it came to allied health, I liked how specific it was, just with the classes. For like right now, I'm taking a neurobiology class, and last semester I took regional human anatomy, which is way more complex than just a general human anatomy class compared to my sophomore year. But that was something that stuck out to me. And the great thing about the classes that I get to take as a biology, nursing, science major, pre-med, we actually have access to cadavers. And so if you don't know what a cadaver is, it's a dead body donated to science. And so every single year, there are 3 cadavers that we have access to, and that's year round. And for me, I'm a hands-on learner. And so being able to actually see it in person rather than on a computer screen or on a TV screen made that much of a difference in my learning experience. And I feel as though I had learned way more in depth. And granted, when we transitioned online, it was a bit of a struggle just because I was used to seeing that in person. Like if you have the guts, actually being able to touch the cadavers, move around those muscles. But the professors at APU, like Mateo and Alea said, they did such a great job. They were really there to make sure that students were getting the education that they were paying for and that they wanted. And how it looked was basically they found all these different resources for us that our labs were as similar as possible. And that's just something that I really appreciated.
Yeah, our professors and team have made a huge effort to try and still make it the best educational experience that they can for us with online classes. And I think that we can all agree, online classes, they're not the best. It's obviously not our first choice, and we don't want that, but we do want to keep students and staff and everybody safe. So we're doing it. But I think, again, I speak for a lot of us or all of us when I say that, again, professors still do a great job of trying to make sure that you're learning, make sure you're still getting that experience, make sure that you're still involved and invested and meeting with people and still getting to have that. And even like we were talking about earlier, sometimes people like Alea and Mateo have gone through the drive-through, on Zoom, and it's you don't do that. It's just those funny things that you don't really do when you're in person, but you make the most of it. And I know people that are freshmen at APU that didn't know anybody coming into online classes, and they have group chats or Snapchat groups of friends that they've already connected with, so that when they come back, they still have that community, which is huge. There was another question on here. Oh yeah, there was one question. Where is your favorite place to study on campus? So yeah, Alea, why don't you take that one on, and then Mateo, you as well. But Alea, where's your favorite place to study on campus?
Yeah, I have a few favorites, but I think my go-to, the one I'm missing the most, on East Campus, we have this really beautiful outside amphitheater. It's called the Wynn Amphitheater. If you take a virtual tour with one of us, you'll get to see it online. But it's just beautiful outdoor amphitheater space where there's just tons of grass areas, there's tables, there's turtle ponds. It's just a beautiful space. And that was definitely my go-to when it came to wanting to read or study and just needing to also just take a break outdoors, other than the library, of course. I would typically go to an amphitheater, head there with some friends. If there weren't people there hanging out already, then I would definitely plant myself there and study for a couple hours. It's just a really peaceful place.
Yeah, Mateo, what about you?
Yeah, mostly my studying places were inside because I don't like outside because I get hot and I like air conditioning. But I'm kind of a homebody, so I like to study in my own room, and kind of be my own zone. But when it was serious or say my roommate was having a Fortnite tournament in the back room and I couldn't concentrate, I like to go to the libraries on East Campus because you can, you know, reserve a study room, which is always so cool for me because it's like there's outlets and there's a table there and I can just sit there and just do a whole project in, you know, a couple hours that I got free and have it be in, you know, a neutral space where I'm not distracted by my TV or the Xbox or my computer. It could just be me and my work. So I like that separation too.
Yeah, there's a ton of different options to study on campus. If you're like me and you like to be distracted while you study, then anywhere outside is the best place to do that. But there's also some really nice secluded places where you just get to really be outside. That's one of the great things about going to school in Southern California. I grew up in Portland, Oregon my whole life. So going from rain 9 months out of the year to this week it's 80 degrees and I got to go on a walk this morning, like that's kind of the dream. So, you know, it's different for everybody, but we really do take advantage of that outdoor space. There was another question on here that I wanted us to answer. Where did it go? This is always the worst, is picking the questions because they're all just so good. But there was one. Oh, yes, picking your schedule. What has that been like for you guys? So when it comes to picking your schedule, how have you navigated that? Maybe some like tips that you guys have for incoming freshmen when it comes to picking your schedule. I know for me, like almost every semester I've tried to make it where I don't have classes on Fridays, or if I do have a class, I only have one class Friday morning because it gets me out of bed. And so that was like my goal every semester was no classes on Fridays or just pick one on Friday mornings to get me out of bed and to get the day started. But what has that been like for you guys? How have you like, what classes are available for you? How does that whole process look like for you? Anyone can take this one.
Yeah, I could start. Oh, okay, I'll go ahead first. Kind of like Natalie said, it's really awesome because obviously in high school you have to take whatever they give you. But when you get to college, you get to choose. And so similar to Natalie, like this semester is the first time I've had a Friday class in all of my semesters so far. And it's just a morning one, so it's not even a big issue. So you get to choose. Towards the like registration time for the next semester, you'll get an email that'll say like, this is your time to schedule your classes. And so you get to plan ahead. They'll post all the classes that are available to you and you can already look to see what times you want to take it. Do you want to take more classes in the nighttime? Do you want to take more classes in the morning? And then typically what I'll do is I'll look at all my options. And after I figure out the times I want, I'll even go like on a website like Rate My Professor, where you can even like Google a professor and you get to hear all the good things about them and why you should take this professor. Maybe this professor does more discussion where the other professor does more writing. And so you kind of just get to look a little bit more into that. So when you actually plan your schedule, it's a schedule that you love. So that's one of the best parts about college is planning your schedule.
Yeah, really great words from Alea too. And I just want to like add on to that little aspect is also, it also takes a little bit of introspection. It takes a little bit of experimenting. You know, best advice is find out what kind of student you are. If you're that student who can wake up and do 8 a.m.s and be done with class by 1 p.m., you know, my applause to you. That's cool. That's not me. I like to sleep, but I get you. I feel you. But like I said, like it really took some experimenting for me to figure it out because I mean, like my freshman year, I was taking classes between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's basically my time to be in school. And then the next semester, I was taking like 2 3-hour classes, so I didn't have to have class Thursdays and Fridays. And you know, that was a really cool step. But it was also like I had to be in class for up to 3 hours, 6 hours at a time, and that was crazy. But it is a cool that there's so many options, I guess. And that's why I said it really comes up to how you function in school and where's your prime time of the day to be productive, and if you want to put it in that time, you know, have class during that time, because it really just you won't really. There's so many options that you have to figure it out for yourself. That makes any sense. No one's gonna say, "Oh, you should take class 8 a.m.s," but if you don't want to take 8 a.m. classes, then you know. But there's options for that now. So I think it really takes a lot of just checking yourself and thinking about how you want to go about it in terms of what's best for you and your health.
Yeah, for sure. Sarah, I'm going to ask you to join us. I know you've answered a couple of these already, but questions about the honors college. There's a lot of students asking about that. If you want to talk about that application process, what that looks like. Also, full disclosure, I was using the natural light and now the sun is going down, so it's getting dark. So I'm going to leave and turn my light on. And as I'm doing that, Sarah's going to talk to you guys about the honors college.
Yes, good segue. Yeah, you guys are asking awesome questions. So
thanks so much for just expressing interest, right, in our students and what APU looks like. So yes, our honors college is a kind of a hidden gem of APU. The honors college is available for our high performing students. So our honors college, kind of the way that the program is laid out is kind of colloquial style learning. And that just means that conversations are really important in the classroom within our honors college. So there's always dialogue, there are always conversations happening between you and your other classmates, between you and your professor, and that is a major, major focus within our honors college program. The application for that program is due by February 15th. So maybe I will answer one of your questions about the honors college with the link to that website so you can apply there. So conversational dialogue style of learning in the classroom is really important and a high value within our honors college. Some other logistics within the honors college is that this program satisfies all of your general education requirements at APU. So if you apply to the honors college and are accepted, you will not have to take any general education requirements. So that's another kind of logistical piece to the honors college. If you are accepted, you will also be considered a double major. So our honors college is seen as an honors humanities major, which you can pair with another major of your choice. So I had a friend, for example, when I was at APU who double majored in the honors college, so in honors humanities and political science. So you will graduate with 2 degrees from APU, which is super exciting. And I think one of the other values of the honors college is that it coincides with any major on campus. And really the aim of the honors college is just to create spaces for our students to engage in dialogue. So to engage in questions and conversations about big ideas, right? That sometimes we are afraid to ask or afraid to talk about. And so, questions like, what is beauty? What is truth? How do I pursue those things? How do I find those things? Those are some questions that are kind of talked about in our honors college environment. And again, I say that not to scare you or to intimidate you, but I think just to really describe the safety that is, again, just a value within our honors college. So kind of main bullet points, right, of the honors college, you will double major in the major of your choice and honors humanities. If you are accepted into the honors program, you will also receive a $1,000 scholarship every year that you're part of the honors college. So double major, $1,000 scholarship if you are admitted to the program. Colloquial style learning, so dialogue, conversations in the classroom are a high value of the honors college. And part of that are, again, mentorship opportunities within the program. So mentorships with your peers that are part of the program with you, mentorship from your professors and faculty, which again, I think just shows the value that APU places on community, which is exactly what a lot of you have talked about, is professors care deeply, deeply about you. They don't just care that you get A's in your class or that you graduate with a degree, but they care about who you are as a whole person. And I think the honors college is an excellent embodiment of that value on campus. So yeah, those are some logistics about our honors college. I will, a lot of you have asked questions about that. So I will answer one of those questions with the link to apply to our honors college, and then you will be able to find that in our Q&A. So yeah, that's a little bit about our honors college.
Great. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I have a couple more questions for a student, but one of the questions was that we have 2 questions, one asking about food on campus and then also food off campus. So I'm going to have each of us answer what our favorite place to eat on campus was, and then our favorite place to eat off campus. So we do have like chain restaurants nearby, like just across the street, there's Chipotle, there's Panda Express, The Habit, we have Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, but I'm thinking more if you guys have like a favorite, like smaller local business to share that. So I'm super excited. So I'm going to say it first, but my favorite place to eat on campus was Sam's Subs. So we have this amazing sandwich place. I think I just take everybody's favorite basing off that reaction, but dibs. And guys, you are going to love Sam's Subs. Just amazing, fresh, like it's so good. It's like Subway, but even better. So Sam's Subs, my favorite place on campus. My favorite place off campus, which is in walking distance, it's right by West Campus, is this small Mexican restaurant called Taco King. And on Wednesdays, they have $1 tacos. So on Wednesdays, my friend Max and I would always go to Taco King, and we'd always get like 5 or 6 tacos. And it was amazing because we got that many tacos for $1. Like, that's so nice. So yeah, Taco King for off campus, Sam Subs for off campus. So whoever wants to go next, let's hear it. Because then I'm still living in Azusa, so maybe I'll go visit these places if I haven't already.
I could go next. I love Sam Subs, but when I'm not eating Sam Subs, I would always go to, on West Campus, we have Heritage Court, which is like the food court area on West Campus, and they have the grill, and they have really good barbecue chicken mac and cheese. And I'm a mac and cheese girl. And so I have high standards for my mac and cheese, but this one is really good. So that's my favorite food on campus. Off campus, I'd have to say we have like maybe 3 minutes of a drive away from campus. There is Floppy Jack's Pancake House. So good. Natalie, you have to go there. They have outdoor seating right now because you're in Azusa. But the pancakes are like this, they're like this big. They're huge and they're so good. They have waffles, they have like breakfast fajitas. They're so good. So Floppy Jacks all the way.
I think my favorite place to eat on campus, and I'm going to give you guys a hack right now because no one else did this before me and my roommate did this. It was Mexicali. And it was because they serve breakfast items in the morning and then they serve more like Chipotle kind of, Mexican food later in the day. But in the morning was always breakfast. So we actually invented the breakfast quesadilla because we get it every morning before class. And it was like my favorite thing to get. It had like tater tots and, sausage and bacon. And it was just, it was great. And then, so I was like my favorite place to eat on campus. I'd probably go there every morning if I really had to, if I had a morning class. But off campus, I don't really eat out a lot. I like to cook, so that's mainly my usual thing. But down the street, there's a place called Alberto's, and they have carne asada fries, which is pretty crazy because they give you like a full, it's like one of like the good takeaway plates, and it's insane. So the first time I got it, I was like, they gave me 2 forks, and I was like, I don't need 2, but yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty much probably my favorite place to eat out now.
I would say for me, Sam Subs, definitely. I'm there with you, Natalie, 100% all the way. I could literally tell you like my order right now, but I won't. It's okay. But second favorite place on campus would probably be the Cougars Den. Over there, you can customize like so many different meals from like pizza, pasta, burgers, salads. Mine was the pasta. Oh my gosh, it was my favorite thing. And they would always change the different, like the types of noodles. So it was different every single time, which is always fun. But yes, the pasta on campus was exquisite. And then off campus, I kind of have a theme going with noodles. There's a ramen place just across the street called Rakuten Ramen. Natalie, you have to go there. I need you to get the Rakuten 88.
I went. I had a class assignment where I had to try a new food of like a different culture that I'm not used to. So I went to that place and it was so good.
Yes, I miss it so much. Honestly, if I wasn't so far away, I'd be right there and be eating my ramen. But yes, those are great places.
Yeah, you guys will not have to worry about a shortage of food either nearby in the area or on campus. We also got a new food service provider just about a year and a half ago, and they are phenomenal. So trust me, there's plenty of options. What we just mentioned and more. We have a Starbucks on campus. We have coffee on both campuses for you. We have little grab and go stations. Yeah, you will be squared away. In the dorms, most of the dorms have like a small, like some of them have like a small kitchen area where there's like an oven and like a microwave set up, but we usually don't encourage students to cook there because it's a hazard, but it is there if you need it. And again, if you have like allergies or certain fooding accommodations, like all of our eateries are really good at accommodating to that as well. A couple things, I'll answer a couple more questions and then we're wrapping up. We got about 5 minutes left, but I'm going to answer just I'm going to answer one question, then we're going to have all of us answer one more. But there was one question about, like, we've already talked about how much professors support you and want to encourage you, but there's also a lot of different opportunities outside of your professor to help you succeed. So we have like a math and physics tutoring center, we have a writing tutoring center, academic like help, anything along those lines, academic success center, all of those are there for you as a resource that you get to sign up for. I know I would not have gotten to be in math my freshman year if it were not for the math and physics tutoring center. So again, a writing center, we have all of that set up for you guys. We want academics to be like not something you're stressed about. We want to be able to help you to succeed. You're here because you want to succeed, and we want to walk with you in that. But to wrap things up in our last 5 minutes, a classic question to answer here, but why APU? Why did you choose APU? And Sarah, I'm going to have you answer this one as well, because you were also a student and you love it so much that you're still here. But for all of us, I want us to answer why APU, and then we will close tonight out. But Kaylee, do you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yeah, absolutely. So before, like a little preview, all the schools that I applied to for my undergraduate program had a DPT program, because that's just something I'm very passionate about, and that's the career that I wanted to pursue ever since I was a little girl. And so the fact that APU had that DPT program was like, it just stuck out to me like that. But then again, I mentioned it earlier, as I was looking into the different majors to help me really shape my path towards PT and like help me prepare for that, was the allied health major. And that really proved itself over the past 4 years, just from the courses to the other students that I've gotten to interact with, as well as the professors. Definitely the professors. And one of them actually wrote my letter of rec for graduate school. And so I can't thank all of them enough. So yeah.
Alea, what about you?
Yeah, I think that I remember senior year of high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do, no clue where I wanted to go. Like no one in my family had really gone to college, so I was very confused, but I knew I wanted to go. So I applied to about 10 schools throughout Southern California. And it honestly wasn't until we had an admissions event on campus like February of my senior year. And I was able to spend overnight in one of the dorms, Adams Hall, which is where I ended up dorming my freshman year. And just remember like stepping foot onto campus and seeing the interactions between students and faculty and professors on Cougar Walk, and just feeling like this is home. Like I have no clue what I want to do. I have no clue what I want to study. But knowing that, I knew that if I went there, I was going to be in good hands with my professors. I was going to be in good hands with my peers. And so it was a lot of prayer navigating that decision. But I think that the Lord gave me a peace about it. And especially once I spent an overnight there in Adams Hall, I was like, this is it. And I said yes. And I'm so glad I did. And I haven't looked back since then. So lots of prayer, visiting. So I'm really glad y'all are here. Do more. Look into more resources, join us for a tour. Those will be really helpful when it comes to your decision. I know it really helped me a lot.
Yeah, we'll go Mateo and then Sarah, and then I'll close us out tonight.
Yeah, I think much like like everybody else, my motivation was definitely my major. I had an idea of what I want to do, and APU has an amazing psychology program. And at first I wasn't sure. I kind of just for the first couple months it was kind of like I'm here, but my program definitely helped me get more comfortable with the decision I made. And it wasn't probably about after my first semester when I knew, oh, this is where I want to be for the next 4 years. It was because I made a mistake on a formatting mistake or something like that on my on a test or something, or a final, and I had a professor reach out and was like, hey, you messed up. I'm supposed to take off this many points, but I know that you worked really hard throughout the semester. Why don't we just work through it together? Let's just figure out what you did wrong in this formatting. And that really surprised me, because in college, because I'm a first generation college student, first person in my family to go to a 4-year school. So it was, I didn't know. You don't know if they're really going to have your back like they say you do. But over the past couple of years, my professors in my major have had my back throughout everything, and they do a good job of making sure that you're growing as much as you're learning, if that makes any sense. And there's a lot of internal reflection, and sometimes professors will just stop classes, hand out free therapy, and it's really amazing. Like just the fact that teachers care about you as much as just learning, I guess. Yeah, I think that's just my favorite part of just loving APU was just knowing that I had a program of professors who had my back and were passionate for my future as much as I was. So.
Yes, that is awesome. It's so fun to hear about all of your transitions to APU and what kind of made APU stand out to all of you. For me, so I was looking at schools a long time ago now, and I live locally. So I'm from Chino, California, if any of you are familiar with Chino. And I was, you guys, not even kidding, dead set on not attending school locally. But then my dad asked that we just take a tour of campus. And so I think for me, what kind of sold me on APU was, again, just that community aspect. So just getting to interact with faculty and staff and students and just really see, I think, the embodiment of APU's values through its people who are part of the institution, I think sold it for me.
Well, we want to honor your guys' time, and our time here for this event has come to an end. So thank you for being here. We hope that you got to learn more about what APU looks like, not only as an academic institution, but also what the community could be like for you here. So if you have any other questions, contact an admissions counselor, join us for a tour. You might see some of us on here actually giving you a tour, and we'd love to continue to partner with you when it comes to deciding what's next for you. So again, thanks for being here. We just dropped the tour link in the chat, so please click on that and save that, and hopefully we'll see you here at APU in a little bit. But again, thanks for being here, you guys.